Hello my friends, welcome back. Today I am playing with the Glimmer of the Month from Spellbinders, December 2024. Now this Glimmer is a partial die cut and it allows you to make this really fun effect on your card front with all of the foil design here and then the rest of your card blank or card base blank. Or you could put pattern paper or however you see fit on finishing this. Now here is one that I have already created. It's just missing a sentiment. Now on this one I decided to use vellum on the inside of my card, which actually you could still write right here. But this actually happened because I made a mistake. When I was playing around, I made a mistake, and when I die cut this, I put it in without opening it. Now, when we do it today, we're going to open it, and we're going to do the other style without the vellum. So, since I did this, I just wanted to show it to you, though, because it's another idea for a card, and I think I'm going to put a sentiment here. So, I just wanted to show you, this is how we're going to color it today. We're just going to have white here instead of the pink vellum. So, I just wanted to show you that so you know exactly where we're headed in this video. Glimmer is warming up, so let me grab the plate out. And we'll go ahead and get it heated up. And you see you have two other sentiments in here with dies. So you have one here that says forever yours. And then you have one in here that says your friendship is everything to me, which is really pretty. So actually this right here with this forever yours would be perfect right here. Wouldn't that be pretty right there? And we'll use this one probably today. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm also going to do the watercoloring. We're going to do the watercoloring in this video as well. So for this, since we're doing watercoloring, I am going to use a piece of smooth hot press watercolor card by Altenew. And we're going to see how this foils up. It's good to use a larger piece of paper when you're doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started there, that timer started, and grab some silver foil. You could of course do this with any color foil, but because I'm using pink as my coloring medium, I'm going pinks and greens, I thought the silver would be pretty on this project. I think I'm going to trim this down here a little bit because I don't think we need that big of a piece, and I can use these for sentiments. So and it should hopefully, yes, it should fit there. So I'm going to put the shiny side of the foil down towards the fancy part of the plate. Going to go ahead and unhook this so I don't shake it any. And I'm going to put my paper straight down as well. And then the two plates. And I'm going to run this through my Platinum 6 machine. I'm going to plug it back in so it's reheating in case we need it again. Lift this up and let's see how it did on this paper. I had a little under foiling the first time, but I wanted to see, I used cold press the first time, so let's see how this hot press actually foils. Oh, okay, it's not too bad, not too bad. So here is our foiling, much clearer than the original. This was the cold press watercolor by Altenew, the watercolor paper by Altenew, and their A2 sheets are 50% cotton and have a smooth texture. So that's the reason I tried it for glimmering. This was a total experiment. So this one here now is the hot press, and here again it is a smooth watercolor paper, and I wanted to watercolor, so I thought this was a nice way to do it. And I actually got a really nice, almost like an indentation where the foiling is. I really like that. It's like some texture there. It's really pretty. So now we will go and move on to our coloring. And today for coloring I am going to use these, which are new to me. These are Altenew also. They're artistry brush and fine tip pens. And these are water-based, just kind of like your Zig marker almost. And it has a nice brush tip on one side. And then it has a very fine tip on the other. And I'm using the brush tip today. This is what they look like. The different colors of markers. Very beautiful colors. So I picked those up on a sale, of course, because y'all know I love my sales. And I'm going to use a water brush with them to make it super, super easy. So for the pink, I'm using here baby pink. And I am just going to color in just a little bit of this. And watch how easy this actually can be. Okay, we'll just do a little bit at a time. I'm going to squeeze out a little water here on my table because that allows me to make sure, first of all, that this is clear. My brush is clean. And also just gives me some liquid there to dip into. Because I like doing that instead of actually squeezing this brush. So now I'm just going to move this color around on the watercolor paper and look at it as it just blends out into the paper. So this makes for very easy watercoloring. I'm really pleased with the way these turned out. This, like I said, this was my first time using this product. I actually invested in this product myself, which I do most of the stuff that I show here on my channel, except for like new released items, which are provided by the companies most of the time. So I do invest a lot in the products that I show you just because I feel like I need to try them out if I'm going to tell you all about them. And I'm not really in this for the actual money, but I'm in this for the joy of crafting with you. So I like to try things out so I can give you my honest opinion of them. And these were better than I expected. I will say that. Because I thought they're going to be, you know, they're not refillable and they're on the less expensive side. So I thought they might be, you know, a little on the cheapy side. But I'm very pleased with how they are blending out here on this paper. And remember, paper is very important when you're doing anything like this with a medium. You want to make sure you're using the right paper. Just like when you're doing Copic coloring, you want to also make sure, you know, you've got the right paper. You're not going to do Copic coloring on watercolor paper. It's just not going to work as well. The watercolor paper will actually soak up your ink, and that's not doing you or the project any good, is it? So let me just show you here while we're doing this. I'm going to bring in a little darker color. This is ruby red. Now these pens also coordinate well with the Altenew ink, so just keep that in mind. Okay, this is still wet, so I'm going to stop right there because it didn't dry very, very quickly. So let me show you though how you can blend this out. But you can get, let me pull this up closer to you. You can get your dark to light by adding just a tad bit of your dark in there. See that? And actually, it was good that it was wet beforehand because it's blending out and balancing out right now really, really well. But it just spreads more when it's wet. So you can let it dry for more control and then re-wet it as you're going. Now, I'll do a larger section here so you can see it. Maybe you can see this a little better with the larger section. And then I will morph you through a little bit so we're not here all day coloring, and I'll show you some leaves. And then we will get to finishing the actual card project. So when you bring the water in here and bring it to the end, if you don't color it all the way to the end, you get a lighter color here on the tips, which I adore. I like to have definition. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then while that's drying a little bit, I'll go here and see how this is doing. Yeah, you just need a tiny bit of this dark. So let's just add that in there, and then we'll drag that out with the water brush. See that? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Just want to get it a little wet. The less dark here, the better, because then you'll have more light at the end of your tip, down here on the end of your petal. Because you really want it to stay dark right here in the center where your shadow would be, and have it fade off into the tip. So go ahead and get these a little wet right in here and drag them out. So I hope that helps with the technique. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull this pink. See how it kind of went over the edge? I'm going to go ahead and just pull this pink into these. You can see how having that excess color in here, I can just go ahead and pull it in here and actually get a light coat of pink in there as also. See that? And then you can just go in with a little extra, and you'll be able to get lots of different lights and darks just by touching the tip of the pen with a little extra color and then dragging it out. I'm going to go ahead and just do the rest of these. Just a couple dots of pigment. I'm finding the less I'm doing, the better for the blend, because as you drag it out, it softens right here, but it stays light out here. So hopefully that instruction helps you just a little bit see this actually come to life. Okay, we'll let that dry a little bit. Then I'm going to put just a tad of ink right in here. And because I'm rushing, this is a little wet, so that's okay. You just have to work a little faster and with a little less water. So I'm just gonna drag those colors together right there and then pull it out like so. You can even leave like a little white or the little tad of pink there on the tips like I did here, and that way it looks like there's a little highlight right there. Go ahead and just fill these in with a little light color. Go ahead and fill these in since I've got pink on my brush. And these will go quicker because they'll already have some light. I'm just getting this excess ink that's here and pulling it in here. See how easy that is? Just because I saw it here, rather than let it sit there and puddle, I will just move it right up in here and we'll just get a nice little base coat going there. So there's about a half of a flower. You can see I'm still going to add more color in here, but you can get the darker, you can get the lighter tips, just depending. And if you want to go darker, let this dry a little bit and then add even more of those darker colors in here and just drag it out again, and you'll get even more depth in perception. Now for the green, I've got bamboo and I've got lime. So lime is our lightest. It's almost a yellowy green. So I'm going to come in here. Let's pick a flower or a leaf that's away from our pink so the pink can completely dry. This is a nice big one. So let me show you here. I will go ahead and just brush this on, and I'm literally coloring this like if it was a Copic. I'm just brushing it with the brush tip, which is what I like about these markers, is they've got that nice soft brush tip. So we'll go ahead and just do these like this. Just getting a little pigment. You're not coloring the whole thing. You're just doing a little pigment. I'll go ahead and do this one here while we're at it. Okay. So now take the brush. Let's squeeze out some water again. Let's make sure we don't have any pink in there. Okay. And then you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to drag this out and look at that light lemony green there on the tips from that. That's all you need to do. Look how simple that is. Isn't that gorgeous? Just super, super simple. And it's so smooth. It's really doing well on this hot press watercolor paper. Love, 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 love this. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry there for a second. All right, now this has had a chance to dry just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead. I was working on that one while I was waiting for that to dry. go ahead and just add the bamboo, which is your darker color, here again, just in the crevices, like that. It's just going to add an extra little color to your green and darken up that corner where the shadow would be. Squeeze this out because I was just using pink while we were waiting for that. So, and then just smooth that down. Don't go all the way out because you want that light to be on the tips, but you just want to blend right there where the two colors come and joined with each other. Like so. Just blending that so you don't see those pen marks right there. And that's really all there is to it. It is okay to have it really light on one end and dark on the other. That's what you're wanting. You're wanting your light source is hitting here first, and then down into here it's darker from where it's growing out. So just like in here you have, you know, your dark crevices are here where these petals are overlapping this petal here. So anytime you have conjunctions like that, you're going to put the darker color in there, like so. So let me bring this up to you so you can see it. See how the darker green is just in the edges, and you can even go deeper if you wanted to go deeper. I'll just do it on this big one so you can see. You can go ahead and go a little more. You don't want to do too much because of the watercolor paper, but you could do a little more, and you could just blend this just a tad right there so you keep the difference. And now you can see it's even deeper there. See that? So the options are completely up to you as how much and how little, as long as your paper isn't degrading. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll work on our die cutting. Okay, so now I have this all completely colored, and we're going to take our die and place our die, and we're going to cut this out. I'm going to use some tape and get that positioned just right, cut it out, and then we will begin building our card. Be very careful not to stick the tape onto your glimmer so that you do not accidentally pull your glimmer up. And then you'll notice it's going to cut all the way that way. And we'll have to trim this down here, but we're going to be cutting this up to fit to size anyways. That's the reason we did it on a larger sheet of paper. So I'm going to run this through my Spellbinders Platinum 6, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clip this at the bottom here, just because that is going to go and just slice into the die cut there, and then pull the rest of this out. And this is our final edge that we're after. Now with our card base is going to be like so. So what I need to do now is trim this so that we have our straight edge along here, and we can see exactly where we need to cut our paper along here. Let's try that right there and see how we do. See how we like that. And all of this, because you're on a larger piece of paper, all of this can be trimmed down. See that here? So right now, I'm just trying to get us to this finished outcome of where we want to be here. And cut this piece here. So that we have a straight top as well. Then we have a right angle, okay? And then let's see here. Let's go ahead and also, I'm going to trim it also along here at the 5.5 inch mark. Now to do this, I'm going to line this straight edge and corner up. See here on my grid, like so. I'm going to add that and just slide it where I need it to 5.5. Okay, I've got 5.5 up here, following the straight edge of my trimmer. I've got the right angle. I'm going to hold this down and slice. So that will give us our card front. So here is our card front. See that? Now we're going to make the card base. To make the card base, we need to take this die here. Okay. And we need to open this. And this is where I made the mistake on my other one. I did not open the card, okay, to be able to cut this piece right here. And the key to cutting this piece, I found, was to make sure this is upright, this is upright. That's the guide. And of course, to make sure your corner is in place. So let's make sure the corner is in place, because we want a right edge there. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and tape that. Put it exactly where I want it. And go ahead and tape this down just to help me line the die up. This is just temporary. Make sure it's straight at the top, the bottom. Getting all square here. There we go. Then I will just put that there and this here. Oh, not on the foil though. Okay. So that is just keeping us down temporarily, so I can make sure that this die lines up along here. Okay. And then I'm going to tape this down here. All right. Now, this is going to open. And this can come off. Okay. And now we have this in place. And I'm going to go ahead and just use this extra tape, since we have it, for good measure. And I'll go ahead and just tape this down a little extra. And I'm going to run this through my cutting machine like so. Just remember to open your card base. It did go through just fine. So now we just take off these little pieces of tape very carefully, like so. Now we can attach our front piece on here like this. And if for some reason you were off here just a little bit, okay, if let's say you line this up and it's something like this and you're off just a little bit, it happens. It happened on my first one, okay? But that's why I showed you the extra taping, so that you could see, because you see this one here lines up just really, really good. Let me put it like that. It still has a little bit, but not as nearly as much. There's it perfectly lined up. And you see, I still have a little ledge right there. So if you don't like that, you can come in here, cut another piece from a foil card, which I did like here, and then attach it right here on the back, okay? And you have that layer right in there, and it covers the top part of the card and any kind of overlap. Isn't that neat? Cool tip for me. But this one here is pretty darn close, so I'm going to just take it as a win and go ahead and attach it. Go ahead and use my Sweet Patina glue press. And I had someone come to me recently and tell me they had arthritis in their hands. And is there anything I can recommend to help with that, both die cutting, gluing, crafting, all around? And of course, an electronic machine is going to help you for die cutting. If you need something for die cutting and you can't move the handle anymore, you've got numerous die cut electronic machines that I could recommend. So just message me if you need some help with that. But the other thing I always recommend is this glue press, because I have finger joint issues, and I believe it's the beginning of trigger finger, of course, from all my crafting, and I have found this so much easier to use than the other types of glue. And of course, I always want my fine tip. So here is your finished card. Now all you need to do is put a sentiment right there and you're good to go. While the machine is heating up, I will show you how to do the hinge technique. Now this is a great sentiment for the hinge technique because it's got two flat edges, and really you just need one edge to make the hinge, which is putting a piece of tape here. So let's grab another piece of tape and let me show you how this is done. Okay, this says forever yours. So this top piece here looks like the flat, the top of the forever. See that there? Forever. So since that's even, I'm going to assume that that needs to be straight. Okay. So I'm wanting this parallel right here, straight. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hinge on this side just because it doesn't have that little notch right there. See that notch? I'm going to go ahead and put it on this side, and let me put it kind of straight too so I don't confuse myself. Because we want to try to get this sentiment straight. That's the reason for using the hinge technique, is to get things exactly where you want them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm opening this. I'm going to put this right where I want it. And I'm looking at this line here and eyeballing it as best I can. You know, nothing in life is always perfect, you know, but this is just showing you the actual technique. I don't have a great angle at this, so I'm going to look at it now, see how this looks pretty darn straight right there. It might be over too far here, so let me just move it over a little bit. But you see how you can kind of eyeball it and place it, and exactly where it's taped is where it's going to foil. So you need to look at it straight on and get it as close to straight as you can. And then what we're going to do is fold this back. That's why it's called the hinge technique. You're going to fold this back. Now you have to remember your rule of foil. I just cut a little piece here. What you do is you put this, and this is actually too big, so let me just cut this down a little bit. It doesn't have to be that big. So what you're going to do is, this is how we would normally put it down on the press plate, or on the plate, right? We'd put the shiny side down, right? Well, we always put the shiny side, though, against the part that's foiling. So I need to turn this around so that when I lay this right here and fold this back over on it, we've got the pretty side of the plate against the pretty side of the foil. See that? So then you can actually use another little piece of tape if you want to. Just grab one here. Try to reuse a piece here. And you can go ahead and tape that in place too if you would like. Okay. So here is my foiled sandwich. And what we're going to do, the flat part of the plate needs to be heated. So we're going to pull this in here. It's all heated up. Let's push the timer. And we're going to turn this over so the flat part is against the heat. Okay. So you've got shiny against the foil part of the plate and the flat turned over against the heat. Okay, and I'm going to push that all the way to the side there. And because it's taped, it's staying in place because of all that tape. That's the beauty of the hinge. So I'm going to put this on here. Okay, our timer light is green, solid. So I'm going to gently undock this, okay? And then I'm going to move the whole thing over to my Platinum 6, and I'm going to slowly run it through. So let's see how we did. All right, so we're going to take the hinge part off. This is hot, so be careful. And then we'll take the foil off. Okay. And we have forever yours over foiling here. So I'm going to take, I actually like to use Best Ever Craft tape for this. Let me grab some. The Best Ever Craft tape is Spellbinders. And I use them both. I love both of these tapes. They're my two favorite tapes in the craft room. I use mint tape also, but these are my two favorites. And you've got this sticky, and you can go over that overfoiling right there. And it cleans it up pretty well. Might not be perfect, but if you ever have overfoiling inside your letters, you can also go right over it with this. Just pat like that, pat, and it takes most of it off so you don't mess up your foiling. So there we go, Forever Yours, perfectly centered, pretty darn good. So there is our completed card for today, and I hope you've enjoyed this kind of twofer tutorial. Have a great day, my friends, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.